You just press play on the Last Breath Hunt Cast, home of the Huntroversy. We're here to entertain, educate, and engage. And in case you didn't know, you only live once. But if you do it right, once is enough. Don't waste it.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 79 of the Last Breath Hunt Cast. Today, this is Garrett. I am introing the episode. Across from me, I have Grant. We are in my shed, barn, whatever you want to call it. It's an addition that Grant and me and my dad and father-in-law built for one purpose, and that is hunting and drinking beer.
Cleaning deer, to be fair.
Right.
So, right behind us, we got a couple of the boys. We got Josh right over there to our left. We got Tonto here to the right. We got the moose here. We got a bunch of European deer over here. And this is where we actually do our butchering. So right back here is our butcher table, if you guys are watching this video podcast, that is. And that is, that's where we're at. Different change of scenery. So if we sound a little more echoey, I feel like maybe that is the reason behind that. But, today we're going to be talking about 2020, a recap of our year, our goals for 2021, and some really big announcements coming up in the future for us. So this is just a reminder that every single Monday you can listen to a new episode of our podcast, the Last Breath Hunt Cast, on Libsyn, iTunes, Spotify at 6 a.m., and every single Wednesday at 11 a.m., you can listen to the Whitetail Legacy podcast, and that is our partner podcast, which we just made that announcement last episode in episode number 78. And this is our final announcement, I guess. YouTube is a place where we put all of our eggs in that basket on 2020. And in 2021, we're thinking we can do even better. So if you guys would do us a solid, we think you would really enjoy seeing our content on YouTube. And minimally, we put out 3 videos a week, so you're going to want to subscribe and check out all the videos that we have coming up there. And if you're just kind of listening, finding out about us, stuff like that, on our YouTube channel currently, we have about 50 successful turkey hunts, about 35 buck hunts, and we do a new episode of our Last Breath Live, which that's kind of our week-by-week series that we drop every Wednesday. So make sure you stay on that. That's kind of our announcements, and we can roll right into it. So recap of 2021. You went on the first hunt.
Yeah, and I think before we get into the recap, I do want to touch base on the Last Breath Live. Like that's an idea that me and you had at the beginning of this year, and for me, I think it's really cool. And as the other guys and gals on the team really kind of dive into it this upcoming season, it's going to be pretty neat because it's real-time action as it happens every single week. So it's the week prior, all the stuff that we have done, something as simple as hanging or checking a trail camera to as badass as getting it done. We don't hide anything. They're not polished episodes, but you're going to get that video that you want to see real time. We get a lot of messages, and we have a ton of people that reach out to us. Hey, how do you do this? Or why do you do this? Whether it's calling or scrapes or food plots. And if you're one of those people that just kind of wants to see what we're doing year round to try to be successful, and we're not saying that we are the best experts out there, but I'll tell you this, nobody's going to outwork us. You'll be able to see what we're doing in the field, whether it's just sweat equity or whether it's getting those dividends and we're wrapping a tag around something. But moving on from that, the fall really for us started off on a high note. Actually about 10,000 feet high.
Yep.
So I was fortunate enough to go on one of my bucket list hunts with Chris Dow and Jeff Herring. We went to Idaho on a rifle elk hunt. Now with the rifle tag, I tried to struggle with a bow, and for 3 days found out that it was just not going to work. But Jeff, Chris, and I, we all went 3 for 3 on beautiful, fantastic bulls. We were talking about it, right? It feels like forever ago. Yeah. And it wasn't. It
Only
was
3
in
months.
October.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But since then, so much stuff has happened.
So much stuff.
We've had a ton of success this year as a team, and it's awesome because we are the team, the dynamic that genuinely feel bliss when somebody else kills or has good things happen to them. We freaking eat it up.
Yep.
So that hunt, I had no cell service. We were in BFE, like the guides it took us 90 minutes to get from hard road to camp, and we had to do a vehicle exchange in between. But they're like, if you get hurt, literally we have to radio in a chopper.
Yeah, game over.
Yeah, like there is no, we'll get you to the car really quick. I mean, didn't shower for a week, but it was the coolest experience I've been on in a long time. Just to be it was a canvas spike tent, hunt. I mean, all the cooking was done in Dutch ovens over like either an open fire or charcoal. So it just was a really cool experience. And moving on from that, I feel like I got back and boom, we were almost right into it, because my hunt took place not the first weekend in October, that second weekend. And about the time that I got back, me and you were already like, okay, scraping, here we are, we're targeting deer, and it just rolled right into hunting bucks hard.
Yep. And we had a couple opportunities of some daylight walkers in there in October. The particular deer that we were looking for on the Heartbeat farm, like you guys have heard us talk about, we have 2 farms that we hunt. One farm we exclusively manage for 5 and older deer. And that was since we picked up and, made that lease official. Our other lease, we call it the Heartbeat farm, not the Heartbreak farm, the Heartbeat farm. And that is just any deer that we see that gets our heart beaten, we wrap a tag around it. And on the Heartbeat farm, there was a couple of 4-year-old deer, we believe, given our trail camera data, that were daylighting pretty frequently. But there was a couple of the other deer that were out there that we thought were 5 or possibly 6 years old that we'd rather wrap a tag around. And so we kind of hung on past those deer. And then once November hit, it was all gas, no brakes for us, I felt.
Oh, man.
Because, I've got our list here, and Jesse killed Raphael off the ground.
I know.
At 18 yards, 20 yards.
Yep.
Like first thing in the morning with Matt. And they did it out of a spot they call the Hole. And that's a place, I think this would have been their 6th buck off the ground with no blind in the last like 4 or 5 years. So that's pretty epic. Then 3 days later, Matt shoots Chubbs.
Yep. Off the ground.
Also off the ground.
No blind.
Also with no blind.
Just stupid crazy. Wouldn't expect anything different from Matt. Had to stand on a log to get higher than vegetation to make a 50-yard bomb at this.
He was balanced on a log like a little trapeze artist kind of thing.
Gosh, I mean, but I'm telling you, right, Matt is the most instinctive hunter of the bunch. Like, he's just an NBK, a natural-born killer. If the guy just gets it done. He said it before on podcasts, he is an opportunist, and one of his favorite, I guess, quotes that he's coined is, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yeah.
And he's not going to not take that shot.
No, 52 yards, had to balance on a tree limb. He got the camera pointed in the right direction, and it's probably the most epic kill shot we have this year, because you can just see Matt's lighted knock like drop in from the corner of the screen and just punch this deer right in the lungs. And then him and Jesse went and found him a little later that evening
with his dad,
which is cool. So that kind of rounded out that. And then you and I, we decoyed our, 4th or 5th buck in the last couple of years.
Yep.
K2, we shot K2 2 mornings after Matt killed Chubbs.
And what was kind of neat about K2 is Matt came up to help with the recovery.
Yep.
And that's something that doesn't happen very often. And I'll admit, even me, I'm bad about like making the drive, because Matt and Jesse, they're best friends. Stood in my wedding, I stood in their weddings. They're standing in your wedding, like they're brothers, and it's just that 90 minutes sometimes is too far, so we don't always get to hang out with them. And it was awesome for Matt to be there, help us recover it, had beers at the tailgate after we found the deer. That kind of stuff just doesn't happen enough. We joked, if we ever win the lottery, which, holy smokes, too bad we didn't win the Powerball or the Mega Million. They're both around 700 million. We just buy like a section, and we'd all just live on one corner of it.
Yep. Yeah, that'd be pretty epic.
But no, that was awesome with K2, because again, when you decoy in a deer, you kind of get an experience that's not like hunting a deer on a pinch or a funnel. And don't get me wrong, I'll shoot him how I can get him.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
But just something about having a deer posture up, ears pinned back, sidestepping, like, you know, slobbering at the mouth, licking the lips. You get that. You just feel the energy of the animal. It's high intensity. It's awesome, and we got to do that luckily twice this year. And speaking of that, we got to buy our Dave Smith decoy.
Yeah,
we got to get that thing on order.
We got to get that lucky decoy from Todd is what we got to do.
Well, I know, but we have to replace it with a new one.
That decoy has had some epic things happen to it over the last few years. So we dropped K2. The following morning, actually, Allie and Logan kill a buck they call Strong Hand. You know, ending, you know, their season, I guess their bow season of their rutcation on a epically high note. So they kill him. Allie makes a smoker shot. Logan lays it down. The footage is great. The deer goes over.
That's one of my favorite podcasts to listen to. If you guys haven't yet, go back. I remember it just because we joked about it. It's episode 69. And it is hilarious. You have to listen. If you're just now tuning in a little bit late, go back in the Rolodex. Episode 69, it will not disappoint. Those two girls are a freaking riot. I don't know how they're quiet enough to kill deer when they hunt together. I don't know how, but either way, like you said, Strong Hand, beautiful 9-point. If you listen to the episode 69, you'll understand why they called him Strong Hand. But yeah. Moving on, this beautiful train.
Yeah. Then the next day, Cody and Homie kill a public land buck. And the day before, the day that Allie and Logan killed Stronghand, they saw Magnum, which is a huge, 190s class public land deer.
Stupid
last
big.
year had Homie had him at, sub 70 yards. This year had him at sub 70 again, just at the tail end of being sub 70. So I would feel like with last year and this year's intel put together, if he's still alive next deer season, they ought to have a pretty good beat on what he's going to do and how to get a little closer to him. So hopefully they can make that happen. But those guys busted their ass, went 16 days straight on public land in Illinois, and got it done.
Yep,
shot a
plain
9-pointer. Awesome footage. Homie laid that down. Cody shot him, watched it drop, does a death spin, drops. That might be one of the ones that we show at our launch party, which we'll give you the date to that towards the end of this episode. But that was that. And then that gets us into Crunch on the 11th of November. So all that stuff that we just talked about has happened in, 10 days,
and
which is insane.
Over.
And it's not over.
Yes. Crunch was another decoyed buck. The widest deer I've ever killed. Probably the widest deer I'll ever kill.
Knock on wood. I hope not, but he's going to be in the top 2 or 3. I don't know how.
It's going to be hard to beat that as far as width goes.
Yeah.
His frame is incredible. I can't wait to see him. Wayne has got a ton of deer to mount, and the launch party is going to be incredible with just the spread that we have. But getting back to Crunch, we thought the hunt was over. It was kind of the end of the night. And I look up across the field. Here he comes on a V line for the decoy. He comes from about 85 yards to 20 in 60 seconds. Shoot him, watch him.
And just he's backlit the whole way. And for anybody that geeks out over outdoor footage or you're a person that films your own hunts, he was coming in. We were facing the sunset, and he is breathing, and it's 28 degrees. It's cold, and you can see him just every step he takes, and he's bristled the whole way, and he's just backlit by the sun. It's crazy.
Filthy.
It's crazy cool. And then you smoke him. He runs out of there, jumps off. So I would say that this field that we're on is kind of like a plateau. There's deep ravines on both sides of it. And I mean, when the field stops, the ravine starts, and he just jumps into this. What was that, honeysuckle?
No, that right there was dogwood. It was a dogwood thicket. And if you know what that stuff is, it's inch to inch and a half thick stems, about one stem every 6 inches. I mean, it was
a galloping run, kind of like a dog when you watch a dog run off of those
jump
fetching
off a
things.
dock. Yeah.
in like slow motion through the air into those pools. That's kind of what it reminded me of.
So he went about 20 feet into that, and boy, oh boy, dragging him out was a chore. Not only did you have all of the thick, nasty dogwood, which also had multiflora rows in it, but it was like at a 35-degree angle uphill.
Yep. You got him out of there, though.
I know it. Yeah, good thing I worked out.
Yeah.
Good thing I work out.
Yeah, trying to get a deer that heavy up an embankment that's that steep with all of those stems. It wouldn't, but it's not just like it's a steep ravine. It's like it's because it's like getting whacked in the face with a broom handle every time you step.
He's like 23 inches wide.
Yeah,
it's like
so it's like
I gotta like break them all over to make to go 6 inches. I had to snap like
dragging a combine through a forest.
Yep.
So
it was all worth it, man. I'd do it again. I'd do it 10 times again.
Yeah, absolutely. Then 2 days after that, Matt shoots Hanson.
Yep.
I go down there and help him recover it. Matt smokes him, self-filmed it again. I don't know how he does it, to be honest. I don't know. He's like a man hunting savant of self-filming, because that's like the 6th or 7th buck he's killed, like perfect center frame.
And he was running in.
He was running in. He's loping in. Like with a bow, like with a gun, that's a hard enough shot to pull off, but he's loping in.
To film it too, like it's. I've self-filmed a couple times, but it's all been like out of a blind. The deer's entered the field, watch him a long ways away with a gun. Like, I shot him on my time.
Yeah.
But Matt is like, I would love to be a fly on the wall of his brain sack to know what the heck his mind is playing out. Because the dude's probably got like 100 scenarios playing in his mind, and he just throws the camera, focus, drops back, kills, and it's like, dude, you did it again. How is this possible?
I don't know how it's possible, but I'm not putting anything past Matt anymore. So then the following day, you and I went hunting. It was the morning of November 13th, Friday the 13th, the dreaded Friday the 13th day. And we shoot the Rut 9, and literally sunrise comes up. It's about 20 minutes into legal time, and I'm sitting completely faced away from Garrett. He turns to me, big buck coming, and he comes to about 20 yards, rakes a scrape, walks up the hill, shoot him at 42. He goes, he beds down. And at first glance, we're like, that's a heart shot deer if we have enough penetration. But we went and found the arrow, didn't have a ton of penetration, kind of went up and over the first crest of this hill. And as we were actually going over the crest of this hill, another buck we know called Hershey's, he's like rumbling through the draw that we're in, and we kind of spook him back towards where that deer that I shot was bedded, and that deer gets up and takes off. So then we go and grid search for him. I went 2 days later, 3 days later, and then all day on that following Tuesday, just couldn't find him. Then on the Friday of opening gun season, first gun season in Illinois,
would have been 1 week later.
Yeah, 1 week later. You got the gun in your hand, you're scoping up, and you're like, there's a big buck right there on the edge of the field, dead. And sure as shit, it was that deer on the other side of the farm. Several hundred yards away, and I wonder if that's where he ran to the day that he got bumped out of his bed by Hershey's, and he kind of just went boom straight away. I don't know. It's hard telling, but the broadhead was in the cavity, which I gotta believe, given where the shot was. Big shout out to this is not a product that we're like endorsed by or anything, but it's one that I really enjoy looking at, especially in the event of like a not the most ideal shot deer, but DeerCast by the Drurys. That is such a sweet tool. You can put your crosshairs on where you believe you hit the deer, which good enough for us. We always know where we hit the deer just because we have it on footage, but we can look at it, we can analyze it, we can say, all right, given this penetration, given this angle, given this distance, given this time that has expired since the shot happened, what do we do? How do we respond? So that's a sweet tool that we use quite a bit, that I use quite a bit. And so we end up finding that deer. Then Logan kills a second season doe.
Muzzleloader.
Yep. Muzzleloader doe. Alan Yates hunts with you.
Yep.
kills his first deer with a shotgun, with a firearm.
Yep.
And then about a week before that happened, Jake Hofer and I went to Nebraska.
God, what a crazy trip.
We shoot a whitetail buck on a place we got permission on, coming off a private back onto public. So we got permission on the little private chunk he was on. Killed him. Killed a coyote feeding on his carcass as Jake and I were tracking him only 2 hours later, which is insane. Never seen a coyote hop on a deer that quickly before. And to be, not just that a coyote found him and like nibbled on his hams, like the whole, like both the back hams gone, topside backstrap gone, the whole rib, all the rib meat chewed up the neck on the front shoulder. Like that's a definition of a coyote problem, I feel.
Oh, good. And it's
crazy.
I don't even know how. I would love to know how many coyotes were honestly that it took to eat it all, because if you guys watch the Last Breath, if you watch the Last Breath live, they're not exaggerating. Everything on the top side of the deer was gone. Everything was gone, and even some of the bottom, all of the guts, topside backstrap, topside ham, topside front shoulder, gone. Gone. And I know a wolf can eat about 7 pounds of meat a day. Now, a wolf is way bigger than a coyote, but I'm thinking in my head of meat that they would have taken about half, right? Off half of a buck. So what is that? At least 20 pounds?
Yeah, at least
meat.
20 pounds.
If you think a ham, a backstrap, a shoulder, and then especially if you include the guts.
All the rib meat, all the guts. Yeah, it.
So there had to have been,
more than just
4
two. Yeah, it had to have been a crew
of coyotes.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking, okay, opportunistic coyote, right? A coyote and a pair, they're going out hunting in the morning like we've called in before.
Yep.
Stumble upon this dead deer and go to town. But how much damage can 2 coyotes do? This had to have been
many.
Had
to have been.
Who knows? Either way, shot the buck, shot the coyote. Cool story there.
Yeah.
It's a cool story that's, no. Do we want that to happen every time? Of course not. But pretty damn rare that 2 hours, literally 2 hours. And they probably started tracking him 90 minutes after the shot. They just gave him just a little bit of time because they didn't watch him go down.
Yeah.
You picked up the trail, and within 2 hours of squeezing the trigger, not tracking, your coyote was physically eating your deer.
And the deer was almost unrecognizable and gone. Crazy.
But that's not even the cherry on top of the freaking trip.
No.
You guys shot 2 freaking stellar mule deer too.
Shot 2 mule deer, got permission from another guy to go over and hunt his ground. That was an amazing trip. Jake killed his first muley spot and stalk on the first day we were allowed to go on there. And then on the 4th day, I wrapped a tagger on another one. So we headed back home with 2 full mule deer, all the meat, the capes, the horns, everything, a whitetail buck, a little bit of meat off of him, and a coyote pelt. And drove through the blizzard to get back home in time for Christmas on the 23rd. We got back. And then you and I get a shipment of stuff in the mail and go on our first saddle escapade ever.
Yep. And that was it was neat. And in full disclosure, now after talking to some people.
Oh, this is funny.
I had both the lineman's belt and the tether rope on. Turns out you only need one. The lineman's belt's really for security when you're getting your steps on, you're climbing up the tree. After doing research, you can certainly leave it on, but it's not required. So I'd be interested, and we'll jump back up in a tree. I'll get a stick high or something and just feel the difference.
Yeah.
To feel, because it's going to feel a lot different. But regardless, the same day we got the saddle in the mail from the FedEx lady, we jumped in a tree and slapped a doe. So we were able to put a check mark in a box for something that me and you'd never done, and that's kill a deer out of a saddle. Yeah,
and the footage for that's pretty cool too. So, we just came up with a lot of really good footage this year. And then looking at the beginning of 2020, we killed a couple coyotes, so we'll be rolling out a really good, strong coyote episode soon.
And speaking of that, Logan and I leave on Wednesday. We fly out west to see our friends from Sandy Hills, specifically Shane Jones and his wife, Brooke. We are going to be coyote hunting out there for 3.5 days. The cool thing about Colorado is it's not only coyotes, but there's coyotes, fox, bobcats are fair game, and if the badgers are out, you can shoot those too. So there's a lot more options to shoot out there, or to call in, I should say, on top of the fact that the ground that they have has been untouched. It's large, it's vast, it's way different than the Midwest. I mean, the flats, that eastern side of Colorado is almost desert country, if you will.
Sagebrush, cactus.
Shane said, he's like, it's not uncommon to call a coyote in from like 1,000 yards away. He's like, you see him coming for so long. Where here at home, it's like, coyote right here, get on him, shoot. Yeah, because they're like 150 yards away.
Yep.
So it'll be super cool. On top of that, we're doing night hunting. Shane has got a thermal rig that records, so I am so pumped for that.
That's going to be
it's just going to tap into a whole nother side of predator hunting that me and you have never been able to experience. And so to do it, hopefully lay down some sick footage, bring it back, share it with you, have the Last Breath live a week from this Wednesday.
Yeah, it's going to be epic.
So, I mean, we're just blessed, man. Thinking about it and talking about all the cool stuff that's happened to us and the people we care about. I mean, we're pretty damn lucky. And even going a step outside of like the Last Breath crew, Pat shot a great deer. Our father-in-law shot a hell of a great deer.
Yep.
Our uncle-in-law Ray shot a very nice deer with a pretty special handgun that he has.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually his brother's handgun. Parker Olson,
our cousin-in-law, essentially.
Yeah, that kid. Watch out, man. He is on track to kill giants, and he is soaking up deer hunting like a sponge. But the freaking talk about late getting it done, right? Just shot an absolute hammer deer.
Oh yeah.
If it was put together, it would be a booner, without a doubt. He broke a tine off. And then all the other people that have used our code for Wayne, there are some amazing deer. Amazing deer.
Yeah, 15 big bucks other than the ones we just mentioned that'll be at our launch party. So big shout out to everybody that used our code. Thank you for doing that. That not only supports us, but it supports a damn good taxidermist and his apprentice in Wayne Tompkins. And we're really excited to just be working with him, have that launch party be so special. Not only for us, but all the people that killed deer, to be able to pick them up there with a 6-month turnaround with blue ribbon quality, $50 off. And I don't think you can find a better guy than Wayne.
No.
So
no. You talk about not only is his taxidermy amazing, but he's just such a good guy.
Good guy.
He's such a good guy.
Yep.
And so, I feel like this is kind of like the year end. We should have done this on January 1st, but no, really, man, today is the last day of deer season, so that's why we're doing this podcast.
Yep.
Homie was so close to killing a buck. He went up north to the CWD counties, and for those of you in Illinois that didn't know this, the late CWD season, or the late antlerless seasons, kind of in the lower counties, up in the northern and the CWD counties, you can actually still harvest a buck with a firearm. So Logan Sellers, another salt of the earth guy, invited Homie up, and they had a beautiful deer come into the field yesterday, but it just was a little far. And this evening they had a phenomenal hunt. They saw over 40 deer, just nothing, that they were really, they just kept waiting for that buck they saw yesterday, right?
Yep.
He just never showed up, and light run out, and that was it. On top of that, Matt and Jesse grinded the last 7 days of season, and it seemed like whenever they weren't there, because they both work, when they weren't able to get in a tree, a deer they were hunting called Wyatt Earp would show up in daylight, and it's just a game of cat and mouse. And again, the last couple days aside, with some missed opportunities, I wouldn't even say missed opportunities, just some bad luck.
Yeah,
we still had an incredible year.
Yeah, absolutely.
And looking into February, we have some really cool partners that we're so excited to talk to you guys about. We're making some moves. We're making some changes. We will explain everything in detail why we have done it. We feel amazing about it. It's going to be great for us, great for all the people that we work with. I mean, it's it's big and it's exciting. It's, like adding Cody and Homie. We have another big announcement to make regarding the team that's going to be pretty damn awesome.
Yep.
And then just the partners that we're welding up with moving forward to 2021 and further, and solidifying old relationships even harder, just galvanizing those and making sure that we keep doing what we're doing. I mean, it's going to be good. We're excited, and I don't want this to come across as us being arrogant. We are grateful. We're not arrogant at all, and we don't take anything for granted, but we're ready. This is going to be so fun in 2021. It's just going to be good. A lot of changes.
A big year for us.
Yeah, a lot of changes, all for the better. Hopefully this COVID shit dissolves in about 90 days, and the launch party will be able to have about 4,000 people there screaming and hooting and hollering.
Yep. So I guess getting back, to the end year recap here, are you satisfied with how the season went? I feel like for me, as an overwhelming yes, very satisfied with how it all panned out. I think if there was one thing that I could change about season, it would be being able to stick an arrow in Richard. I think that's the only box that when I say we, I say you and I. That's the only thing that I felt like we didn't accomplish that we set out that we wanted to accomplish in the worst way, because that was the number one deer that we wanted to shoot. And for whatever reason, he eludes us again.
Dude.
So next year, we'll have a new crack at him because he's still on camera. He's still alive. So we believe that he'll be a 7-year-old next year. So old, mature whitetail. Got by us last year at 5, got by us this year at 6. So that goes to show you, I mean, a lot of these deer, lots of people, will ask us, like, how do you have history with every deer you shoot? And you guys always seem to get it done and kill deer that you have all this history with, and that's not the case. Some just like
they
anything else, we got our ass kicked plenty of times by Richard going in to hunt him this year. So it's one of those things that I don't know if we could have done anything more in our power to put him in front of us, whether it be shotgun season, whether it be us bopping around in bow season. And we hunted. We do our rotation a little bit different. So lots of people will take, their 10 personal days and they'll just bang them up, Monday through Friday, 2 times in a row. And we do it a little bit differently. Number one, because I don't have that many personal days. On a given year, I only get 3 personal days, so I have to be very tactile with them. And so Garrett and I take, it's set up for us where we have a 3-day weekend because of my work schedule, and then we go to work for 2 days, get caught up with work, and then we hunt. We take the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off before Veterans Day because I get Veterans Day off. So we take Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Monday is Veterans Day. I get that off. And then that Friday rolling in, that Thursday, Friday, we'll try to take that off as well. So I feel like we were in a tree as much as we could have been during that time. And for those of you guys that are, anywhere from the Midwest, it was unseasonably hot this year, and lots of our deer movement was grinding to a screeching halt about an hour after sunrise.
Yep.
Just kind of like clockwork every day. So we were battling that, and for whatever reason, we never saw him on the hoof. We saw him plenty of times on trail camera, had him on scrapes a ton, but we just could not get him to break daylight in the vicinity of us during this year.
No, we had one sequence of pictures of him, like 18 yards from a stand, right where he's supposed to be, and we were in a different spot. So we were still hunting. We just chose the wrong spot.
Yep.
But
guessed wrong.
The thing is, though, if we would have been in that stand, he would have never came in because we had the wrong wind.
Yep.
So he's a big
22.
deer. He's smart. I think for me, the biggest regret of the season, and this isn't for us, it's just not a regret. The biggest bummer of the season is, my wife, she shot a beautiful deer, and God, it looked like she hit it great. We sent this photo, the footage out to people, and people we covet, like our friends and out
professional deer
Hills.
trackers.
I sent it to 5 professional deer trackers. Every one of them said that deer would be dead. Hired a dog, And we just never found it. The neighbors were amazing. I'll say that right now, hands down. They were to tell everybody too, like this deer traveled over 400 yards on our property before it crossed the fence line. So it's not like we were hunting 20 yards from the fence.
Shot him in the center of the property.
The center of our
property. Made it all the
property.
way to the side. And it's just like, when you look at the footage, it's so demoralizing to me just because, when we got there to help her track, we watched the footage and we're like, this deer is going to be dead.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't watch it fall. It's that perfect textbook, like 2 inches, 3 inches behind the shoulder, mid body up, down. Like in our book, that's a double lung shot all day long.
If anything, it was a touch high.
But
my wife, she pulls,
still.
So she's pulling 57 pounds, and she's shooting about a 385 grain arrow. So she hit a big deer, and she got about 13 inches of penetration from tip of broadhead to blood on the arrow. By all means, man, we talked to a lot of people, and they all said that deer should be dead. And it wasn't like we were on our hands and knees looking for blood either. I mean, it was night. It was dark. To give everybody context, Logan shot the deer at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's early. She called me ecstatic. I'm like, didn't you just get in? She's like,
the stand.
Yeah. And she's like, yeah, but he came in, and they were, her and Allie were jacked up, rightfully so.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, they took my truck. So I'm like, come pick me up. You screamed over, and we went to help them. We thought recover. Like, they came in, we watched the footage on the big screen, and we were like, yep, deer's dead. Like,
I'm surprised you didn't watch it fall.
We were freaking jacked, and I felt so bad for her looking back at this because of that roller coaster of emotions. She was like super ecstatic. She made a good shot. I mean, it would be different if we're like, oh gosh, babe,
I've seen deer recovered on much a worse shot than that.
And so she's like super excited. It would have been her biggest deer with a bow, probably biggest deer ever, bar none. And so we go out and we find blood immediately, and we find the arrow, and we're still freaking good. And we go about 100 yards. I'm like, okay, because me and you were letting them track, right? And not to be, I mean, they were just, we were walking. We were
walking. Leisurely walking, like
at dark.
Not even having to bend over.
Dark. We waited until dark. We gave the deer plenty of time, right? Freaking Ron Slifer, he's like, if you don't watch a deer go down, give him 2.5 hours. Okay, Ron, we got you. Doing everything right. And it's like, then we go 200 yards, and I'm really starting like, what the heck is going on? But the blood's not drying up.
Oh, I mean, blood's been great the whole time.
Great. And it's like, okay. So then we go another 200, and then we hit the gravel road.
New property.
Blood in the gravel road. On the gravel road, blood spots. And so, okay. Now we wait another 90 minutes because we had to go talk to the neighbors and explain the situation. The neighbors, again, freaking amazing. We let us cross on their property.
Very gracious about letting us go over there, and we're really thankful. It's kind of a lesson to be learned here. When Logan was on the phone with them, lots of the neighbors, I feel like, in the hunting community are maybe a little bit leery of whitetail hunters to a point, just because they've been burned in the past. So do your diligence, call your neighbor.
He was super appreciative that we asked for permission to track.
He went on and on about how much respect he had that she had called him and taken the time to call him rather than just hopping the fence and rolling.
Right.
So
Anywho,
definitely did the right thing.
Long story short, it's a sad ending to the story. We tracked this deer for about 800 yards, and we don't know if we bumped a deer, but we heard a deer get up and run. Well, at this point in time, it already started to rain. It rained. Obviously, it rained about 3/4 of an inch that evening. So Logan, my poor wife, was just bummed to all get out. I hired a dog, and it just didn't work out. The dog wasn't able to pick up the trail.
The reason we did that too is not because we couldn't see the blood, but because it had rained that night. The following day, there was no blood anywhere. We just couldn't visually
we
see
grid
anything.
searched for it. So in full disclosure, like the next morning, we were like, okay, there's no way this deer can live with all the blood that it's lost. It would not cross a fence, wouldn't cross a fence. And so we kicked up a deer, never confirmed that it was him. We backed out and we're like, hey, it's going to rain, but we're just grid searched. There's 2 draws that he ran towards. Like, he'll be in one of those 2 draws. Me, you, Logan, Allie, and her husband came out, and we grid searched. We didn't find anything. Hired a dog. Still didn't work out. Again, I just felt for him, man. It just sucks. And it happens to everybody. And
the worst thing is, though, about the whole deal is she did not make a bad shot. It was a great shot.
I wouldn't say
It was a
it wasn't.
It was a 9 out of 10 shot,
Yeah,
in
it was
my
good.
opinion.
It was good. It
9
just
out of 10,
it's
you know?
leaves this scratch in your head, man. Animals are tough as nails. I don't know, who knows what happened to it, but we never recovered it. So anyway, that was my biggest low point of the season. What else you got?
What are some things you're gonna maybe do differently to prepare for 2021? Are there any things that you thought that our preparation was lacking on, or anything like that? I felt like we made a big upgrade in our shotgun scope, our optics. Our shotgun has always been, able to outshoot our optics, quote unquote, meaning our optics were not like what we wanted. They weren't adequate for us. We wanted a shotgun that was going to be able to clank metal at 200, 220, 250 yards if we needed to, just because of how valuable gun season is for those 3 days and that 4-day season that we have. It's so valuable to get that extra yardage out of our shotgun. So we made the scope upgrade. We built our wagon blind. We put a pop-up blind on it. We've got plans for this summer to fully deck that out, and we're going to call it like the War Wagon. The War Pig is kind of what I want to name it. And it's going to be huge, and it's going to be something that eventually down the road when we have kids, we're going to be able to take our kids maybe on our first hunt there. And then, as we get a little better at hunting and we've got more tags punched by first gun season, will be a thing where we can take Logan and Michaela, our wives, out in and hunt with them out of it. And it's just going to be really cool. But I mean,
if we
in terms
take
of
them out, we're going to have to change the name from the War Pig to the Stabbing Cabin.
Hopefully they don't listen to this one then.
Why? I know my wife's down.
Jesus Christ.
No, looking into the upcoming year, we're blessed that the one lease that we have, the landowner is very, very open to letting us do anything that we can do to increase the value of the property. So with that, we've got like a 3-year plan. Chase Burns, a wildlife biologist and a land manager that we know and revere, came out and did a consultation on our farm with us and really just kind of opened our eyes to a lot of things that we knew about, but we were really hesitant to do. With his confirmation and kind of his guidance,
Yep.
We have this plan, and we did a lot of work this last year. But I think focus for me is the age structure is going to be adequate out there now. Like this upcoming season, this fall of 21 will be the first time we'll have a true 100% known 5-year-old deer that we have to hunt, a couple of them. And there's a couple things on our management plan that we want to get done, and that's my goal. The other lease we have, incredibly grateful. The people are sweet and amazing, but they want us to hunt. They're not really open to food plotting or TSI, and that's fine. I mean, it's your ground. You tell us what to do, and we will abide by the rules. But we're just so lucky that we have this other one that we can really, really deck out. And so me and you have talked about the implementation of a couple strategic bedding areas and specifically long-term goals, trying to provide some thermal cover. So
late season cover.
I think that's going to be my goal moving into the year. And then for deer season and for turkey hunting this year, I'm looking at it so differently. This is like the year that I just kind of want to experience as much fun and joy as I can. And that doesn't mean killing a lot of birds. I hope that I get an opportunity to kill 1 or 2 longbeards, but we've got Shane Jones and Robert Hawk, great friends from out in Colorado, coming in to hunt. Alan Yates is going to come and hunt. Allie Mangelsdorf has never killed a turkey in her life, and I am dead set on making sure she shoots one with a face full of 5s. Like Jesse, I don't think he's ever killed 3 birds in a year. I want that kid to shoot more turkey than he can freaking eat. And just go from there. So that I'm excited for turkey season because we always just put a beating on them longbeards, and we have some pretty cool people that we're able to host, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. What's your biggest hunting goal for 2021?
My biggest hunting goal, there's a lot that's going to change in 21, and I really would like Logan to find her property that's her own, and be able to kind of have that quality piece of ground where she can have the experiences she deserves. Like, she hunts on our properties now, but never, she didn't have that one that's like hers. And I want that. That's a huge goal. But I think like the biggest goal, honestly, is just to put ourselves in a situation to where we can have an opportunity, specifically with a bow, on either TJ or Hope. They're deer that we have watched grow from 3 to 4 this year, and hopefully 5. They evolve into something that's special. And even if they don't grow an inch, they better watch out, because they're on the list. They're of that age, and that's my biggest goal, because I don't know if anybody else has experienced something like this, but to have a farm that you just love, like it's your own piece of property, and you don't hunt it because there's not a deer out there.
Specifically because of EHD wiping out our age structure.
Correct.
So we haven't killed a deer. Actually, that was the last deer killed out there.
Right.
Was Tonto. Would have been 3 hunting seasons ago, given the 2021 hunting season. So it's been a long time since we've went out there, and that's our, if there was if there was any amount of money that I could have in the world, that would be the first thing that I would buy. Yeah. Would be that farm. And a lot of memories out there. I think that over the course of the last 8 years that we've been hunting there, you and I have been able to put about $20 on the wall from out there. So it's a really, really special piece of ground for us. And a lot of good memories out there. And to be able to get back in that saddle again, and so to speak, in terms of managing it how we want to manage it, we'll finally be able to. We've sat and waited long enough. It's been 2 years of not going out there, not disturbing the property, only improving it, watching deer funnel back into it, watching our population rise again, watching the number of fawns be recruited more and more, watch our buck structure, age structure grow on our property, progress, doing all these improvements to hold more deer. I mean, every night, to give you guys an idea of these 2 deer that we're specifically talking about, TJ and Hope, we were counting them up the other day, and between October 15th and first gun season, TJ walked in daylight nearly 25 times.
Just on camera. So, he's all over us, living on our farm, watching him go in and out of our bedding areas. We believe that he's a resident deer. Same with Hope. We're hopefully going to pick up their sheds. I found Hope's left side last year during shed season. So in our food plot.
And it's going to be really, really satisfying. That's the same goals for me too. I just want to make sure that we do our due diligence on creating that bedding area. That's my goal too, is to get that bedding area problem ironed out, get our water holes positioned and in, figure out what we're going to rotate on our food plots. We've been having some discussion about that.
Carrots.
Potatoes.
We're going with the garden.
So that's my goal for 2021 too, is if we could, by some strange stretch of luck, be able to kill both of those deer, TJ and Hope. I could care less about having another opportunity. That'll have made my year big time.
So speaking of that, that's one thing that we always do. We set 3 goals, turkey season, deer season, coyote season, and you have your obtainable goal, because it's important to hit markers, right? So you have a goal that's not necessarily a slouch goal, but something that this is baseline.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have your optimistic goal. This is really your goal. This is 100% effort. This is what we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have your stretch goal. This is if all the stars align and you give maximum effort, this is what happens. And so, we talk about this season, right? We went into it with sober eyes. We're like, realistically, bare minimum, me and you, we want to kill a buck.
Yep.
We each want to have an opportunity, I should re-say that, at a buck. And then our true goal is 3 deer on the ground, 3 bucks on the ground.
Yep.
And then the stretch goal is 4. Right?
Yep.
So we each had opportunities with archery equipment, each got it done.
Check. Goal number 1.
And then we started to keep pushing and grinding. We were able to get that 3rd deer down, and then obviously the stretch goal was missed, but that's kind of what we try to do, to set a bar that is realistic, set a bar that is optimistic, and then set a bar that is a stretch.
Yep. And that's our stretch goal, because we're not naive. I mean, we both work. have full-time jobs, don't have a ton of time
And
off.
we hunt realistically sized properties
hunt
with
realistic-
neighbors and
yeah.
everything else that everybody else encounters.
Yep. And so we feel like, lots of people, and we're going to have a controversy on this coming down the pipeline soon. Lots of people, I feel, have this grandiose idea of when they come to an Iowa, a Illinois, a Missouri, a Kansas, a Wisconsin, a Pennsylvania, southern Michigan,
The big
Indiana,
bucks areas,
the big
and
buck
states.
states, right? That there's going to be just booners flying behind every tree. And I can tell you that we're sitting here right now, and over the course of the last 15 years that we've been hunting together, we only have one. We've got a shitload of deer that are right there at the 170 mark. We only have one that's over it. And I do not still believe that you and I have seen a 200-inch deer on the hoof.
Or had one on camera.
Or had one on camera ever to hunt, to have the opportunity to hunt. And I think that the number of Boone and Crockett whitetails that we've ever had on camera is probably less than 5 true Boone and Crockett whitetails. So you got to be realistic, like for us, we know that no matter how many habitat improvements we make at this farm that we love, the deer could always jump the fence and get whacked by a guy sitting on the other side of it.
Or hit by a car.
Or hit by a car, killed by coyotes, or hit with EHD. And you just have to be prepared. And, if we can stretch and we can make that goal happen of $3 on the ground every year between you and I and rotating in and out with, just filming for the show, that's great. And our stretch goal is always 4. So that's a good recap of our goals.
Wait,
but the next 4 weeks.
We did hit 4, though. I just thought of that.
We did hit 4.
Hot damn.
Well, deer. Yeah, we hit 4, I guess, counting the mule deer.
Right.
Yeah, so stretch goal achieved.
Stretch goal, God. We didn't realize it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's pretty cool. I wasn't thinking about it like that. I guess I was just talking about whitetails.
Yeah,
yeah. But our next 4 weeks, looking forward, you are leaving on Tuesday, day after tomorrow, to go with hunting with Shane, predator hunting, Colorado public land. Hopefully you guys stack up a ton of them. Going to hunt at night. On Wednesday, we've got a Last Breath Live coming out with some ice fishing, which is different than our normal, most of our channel content is hunting. But we're going to put some ice fishing up there. The other day, we caught a crap load of fish, and we're going to show you guys some of that. So big shout out to Brandon. Brandon actually is making me and Garrett an ice fishing pole.
What?
And he's been, sending me advice like, use this jig head, use this color, do this, do that. And he's a stud ice fisherman. And he and I have been talking to one another really frequently lately. And so huge shout out to him. And then our coyote season, when we hit the ground running, when you get back, I'm going hunting with Austin Meyer on Saturday. I'm going to see if maybe Jesse wants to tag along or Matt wants to tag along, and we go do a huge circuit and hit some Austin spots in the morning and then hit some of their spots or our spots in the afternoon. And then, so coming down the pipe, we're going to tomorrow, after you get off work, I get the day off because it's Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So do some remembrance on, a person that greatly improved our nation tomorrow. So big shout out to MLK. He was a heck of a good guy, one of my personal role models and heroes. And being as though tomorrow is Martin Luther King Day, I have the day off. You're going to travel, and in the afternoon when you get done with work, we are going to see if
I hate to even say it because it's too early.
Yeah,
we're not shed hunting. What
we're
we're
going to go
doing,
check our cameras.
We have to check our cameras. So when we do that, we're just going to look for any easy pickings, right?
Yep.
We're not going to walk bedding areas. We're not going to go check fence crossings or like heavy trails. No, we're going to take the side-by-side around. We're going to buzz around to the cameras. And when we do that, we'll go through our food plots. And if we can find a freebie really early, 100% we will. Again, I do not think you should be looking for sheds right now just because deer season is over. A lot of bucks still have their headgear.
Yep.
But given the
There may be
fact
a
that we
straggler.
found sheds in our food plots before, there's an opportunity that we could find one.
Yep.
And if we do, sweet, you'll know it. But yeah, I don't want to highlight. Yeah, we're going shed hunting.
We're going shed
Deer
hunting.
season's over.
Day after deer season.
No. But no, I do hope that Jesse or Matt goes with you with Austin because you guys should get on a couple dogs.
I would say so. Big announcement coming down the pipe. A controversy that I've wanted to do for a long time. One of the most controversial products in the whole hunting industry is the Garmin Zero. For those of you guys who do not know what a Garmin Zero is, that is a range finding site. It pisses some people off. But we're going to cover it tomorrow, and who would be a better guest to cover it with than Mr. Sean Luchtel from Heartland Bowhunter. He's going to be on the phone with Jesse and I, and he's going to be discussing in a Hunterversy-style episode the Garmin Zero. Do you think it's cheating, etc.? And we're just going to kind of go down that rabbit hole and see what he thinks as a user of the product for like the last 3 or 4 seasons. So it's Would You Rather time. You ready for number 1?
Oh, yeah.
Would you rather eat a cookie or a brownie?
That is... I'm going to say brownie because I don't do crunchy cookies.
Okay.
And I don't know if the cookie's crunchy or not. I want them chewy.
Okay. Number 2, a double split brow deer. By the way, I don't tell you how big either of these deer are, but a double split brow deer or a deer with 5-inch mass measurements at the base.
Split brow.
Okay. Number 3. This is a tough one. Would you rather have 7 sons that all love hunting, big underline on love, and yes, I did say 7. That's a crap load of kids. Or 2 sons that hate hunting?
What?
I'm just saying that's my scenario. You have to answer the question.
So 7 kids?
Yep, 7 kids.
There's no way we'd be able to function.
Yep. Well, you could figure it
I'm
out.
not Amish.
You could figure it out.
Oh my God. I'd do this. I'd take the 7 sons.
The 7 sons that all love hunting.
How would I raise
2 kids that hate it?
Yeah, it's such a big part of our lives.
Yeah, I know it's a big part. It's just a would you rather. It's a hypothetical. It's just I made it up. I thought it was hard, but you're going with 7?
Yeah.
That's a lot of kids. You're going to have to drive a church van.
I just don't even want to think about that.
It's a lot of kids.
That's too many.
Okay. Our new segment, we just rolled that out last week with the Whitetail Legacy guys in episode number 78. Shooter pass. Okay, ready?
Yep.
An opening day of deer season 2021. A medium, big underline asterisk on medium-sized doe at 47 yards.
Yeah, shoot.
Okay, I thought that was harder. What if I had said 57?
Full send.
67?
Getting there, but I think I would still do it.
Okay.
Because here's what I'm thinking, man.
You're in your best bow shape?
Yeah, best bow shape. The new V3, been practicing with it all summer, launching bombs, got the HSA dialed in. Girl, you're in trouble.
Even out to 67, huh? I feel like I would let that opportunity go. I feel like opening day of deer season.
You started off at 47.
I'd be ready at... No, I said it at 67. I would let that opportunity
go.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, I'm ready to shoot at a deer at 50 and under.
Yeah.
And I want to be ready to shoot at a deer at 50 and under all season long.
Yeah.
You know, that's why we shoot our bows out to 60, 70, 80, blah, blah, blah. So, number 2, a 5-year-old with a spike on one side. His whatever side's not the spike is a half side of a 160 class 10-pointer.
So the spike is natural. It's not broken.
The spike is natural. It's not broken.
Dead. Good night. You're done.
All right. I thought that was going to be a little harder for you.
At mature deer, period.
Yeah.
Not busted. See ya.
And neither one of us has a deer like that. You know, you've got a sweet deadhead that's kind of like hanging out behind us here that's like that. But neither one of us has a deer like that. Like we've talked about. Everybody's got a big 8. Everybody's got a big 10. Not very many people got a big 6. Not very many people got a big mature deer that's a spike on one side and like a huge gnarly 150, 160, 170 on the other side. Frame, that is. I'm not saying that is that exact quote-unquote score or not. But the last one, a 130-inch 4-year-old on Iowa Public. What do you think about that one? But he's 4. You can tell by the body, but he's just that typical shallow-tined bully buck. He's got heavy, good mass, probably an 8-pointer. What do you think?
Pass,
huh? Waiting for a bigger one?
I don't. Man, that's tough. I might retract that. So I
mean, a 130 is an 8 that's just shallow, but he could be wide and pretty heavy.
I'm thinking just more or less on the age, you know. Like I haven't hunted Iowa Public. I'm thinking, okay, as a non-resident, this tag's probably coming to me one every 3 years.
Yep. Is that
the deer is mature?
Yeah.
I'm having to pack my stuff in every day. No, I'm gonna shoot that thing.
Okay, changing it up. I
Yep.
like it. All right, well, that kind of brings us to the end of Shooter Pass. Announcements coming forward. Shed Kings, that's going to be a new series that we're going to be launching on our YouTube channel. We've got a lot of people that have found some giant sheds lined up. 8 different episodes, 8 different people. And we're going to figure out what the secret sauce is to finding monster shed antlers and just an overall like global looking perspective at the series. It's answering the fundamental question of where do giant deer live during the late season? Because if you can find a deer's antlers in his bed, that's a huge piece of information. And
Big
I would
time.
like to know the answer to that. So that's going to be rolling out onto our YouTube channel. We'll keep you guys posted. That's going to start dropping in February. The Whitetail Legacy video cast, that's going to be live every Sunday morning at 8 a.m. on our YouTube channel. Everything from their Legend of the Woods series all the way to their tips and tactics talk with expert deer hunters around the United States. So that's going to be hitting our YouTube channel, like I said, Sunday mornings at 8 o'clock. Our Last Breath Live series, we're going to keep those up every Wednesday all year long in 2021. Hate to say it, I've been saying it almost on every podcast, but our Throwback Thursday episode, we have 2 more. We're ending them at the end of January. So we've got 2 more of those in the tank, and then we're all caught up. So maybe in a few years we'll run that series back again when we've got, a couple more years of content that'll be quote unquote throwback content, but that's the end of that. And thank you again for listening to the Last Breath Huntcast. The biggest service that you guys could do if you enjoy our podcast is spread it via word of mouth. So if you've got a buddy who is works in a job where he can listen to multiple podcasts per day. We're not saying that we want to be your favorite podcast. We're not saying that we're the best podcast, but we're saying that we would like to be in your rotation. So if you could mention, anything from the Hunterversies to our YouTube channel, anything like that, that would really help us out a lot. Other than that, do you have anything else to say before you go on your trip?
No, just signing off a deer season. If you guys are in Illinois or Iowa, hopefully you guys had as good of a year as we did. And really kind of reminiscing back to what this podcast is about. We're lucky men, and hopefully we can keep the coals hot.
Yep. Happy 2020 deer season, everybody. Big things coming in 2021. Thanks for listening, and don't waste it.